I am interested in the startup ecosystem because I'm from Onyx Consulting. We're growth experts in London. We help startups who are able to achieve very high growth, explosive growth, and we help them achieve that. It's very difficult to know it up front. Unfortunately, not everyone can capture the value of the market. So, if you look at successful startups that go on to be your unicorns or really, really successful companies, they're very good at doing two things, or they have achieved two things. The first one is they've got a great idea with a big market in terms of value or size. So that's point one. But which is hard in its own self to find. But the even harder thing to do is to be the company that can capture the value. Because once you've found a market, there will probably be several companies trying to extract the value. The ones who make it are the ones that extract the value from the market, and we help companies try and achieve that. There's a lot they should do and there's a lot they shouldn't do. The key recipe is knowing when. So in the first phase, when you're a small team, your strength is you're small, everybody knows everything, everybody's talking to everybody else, and generally there's a good grasp of what's going on. Use that to your advantage. Don't put too much, don't put bureaucracy, don't put process. Be agile, be fast. Iterate your product really quickly, validate the business model, get the metrics, and get your investment. Then when you come to the next stage, when you're 10 and 10 people, 20 people, that stage, this is where you need to start putting in more structure. Now, structure and process is a bad word in startup, but it's the secret to success. We're not saying detailed process, bureaucracy, just simple things. Think of process as a way to create standard. You can't now attend all the sales meeting yourself. You need your salespeople to do it for you. Giving them a little simple process or steps would ensure that you have a good brand experience, a consistent brand experience, and you can be comfortable that your customers are still enjoying the same level of service as if you are going yourself. So at this stage, it has to shift from the founders doing everything to the company being able to capture the market. And that's the first shift. So what you should do depends on where you are. What I was saying, the stages applies everywhere. It's the pattern that you see from the unicorns. They go through the various stages successfully. They've made that leap. Now, comparing the market, I've been in Brazil, I've attended CASE, I've attended Demo LATAM, and now Demo Startup Brazil. What I can say is the ecosystem is amazing here. Now, I'm from the UK. We don't usually give very high praise, but it's really, really good. I think it's underestimated. I think in terms of the government side, there is a long way to go, but there is steps made in the right direction. Startup Brazil is proof of this. It could be far worse, but it's going in the right direction. I think fundraising in Brazil is harder compared to the US, but on the flip side, at the minute, the number of startups fighting for the money is also lower. So I wouldn't say necessarily it's obviously harder, but then there are a lot of Brazilian startups that have managed to fundraise in the US. So there is definitely possibility to raise the money, but genuinely I've seen some really amazing founders doing really great ideas and products. I would say the one thing is a negative thing or room for improvement is right now a lot of the ambition is on grabbing market in Brazil. But there are a lot of ideas and a lot of products that could be bigger than that. I think some, not all of course, some are already thinking this way, but some can think bigger and be a bit more bold and confident with the idea, because that's how you're going to get Brazil's billion-dollar startups, more of them, because they need to think big. As soon as they've made it broken even and they're right and they're stable in Brazil, they need to go in parallel to growing Brazil to other Latin American countries or to the US or the Europe, wherever makes sense, to fundraise again and go for it. And I think that's the next step for the ecosystem, for more people to want to be the global companies rather than just the top Brazilian companies. Innovation in the 21st century does not respect who you are, where you're from, what your education, your gender, your color of your skin, nothing. Good ideas come from absolutely everywhere. Now, in Brazil, I say there could be, the reason why I see a lot of really cool companies and ideas here is because the problems you see are different. For example, in Europe and in the US, there's a big emphasis on mobile first. However, to gain wide market share in Brazil and other emerging economies, it has to be mobile only. And so when you see a problem from that angle, the solution that comes out of it tends to be different, more efficient, more innovative. So sometimes the problems that you can see in Brazil would be different to the problems you see in Europe. And now, so I don't really care where the ideas come from and where the companies come from. There's room for both ways. I think there are great Brazilian companies coming out of the ecosystem that can happily go to Europe. And likewise, there would be some startups from London and Europe that will really benefit from the big market that is Brazil.